Hi, boys and girls. Today for reading, we're going to talk about comparing and contrasting stories. Behind me, I have a diagram that you've seen before. It's called a Venn diagram. And it's basically two circles, and the circles overlap. And in the outside of the circles, where they don't overlap, we put how stories are different. And you can actually use one of these diagrams for anything. But for reading today, we're going to use them to compare two stories. So these parts would be how the stories are different. And then in the middle, where they overlap, this region in here would be how the stories are the same. So you're going to need your reading lesson 7 from your papers. If you don't have this, I will upload it on Google Classroom for you. Last week we read The Sausage, that silly story, and then we read the story The Three Wishes. And you probably noticed when I read one to you and then you read one on your own, that the stories were very similar. So I'm going to reread them. They're short. You can follow along in your packet. And then we're going to answer some questions together, and then you'll do some on your own. So I'll start with the sausage. An old woman was waiting for her husband to come home for dinner when she heard a knock on the door. Answering it, she saw a finely dressed lady. "Please lend me your baking pan," the lady said. "My daughter is about to be married, and I must prepare for my guests." Though she did not know the lady, the old woman quickly ran and got the pan. The lady took it, thanked the woman, and went away. When she returned 2 days later, she promised the woman 3 wishes, then quickly vanished. The old woman was very excited and began to think what she would wish for. Maybe they could get a wonderful big farm or a box full of money. At that moment, though, the old woman was hungry. She had little food in the house, and she needed to prepare dinner for her husband. "I wish I had that sausage I saw in the neighbor's kitchen," the old woman said to herself. That very moment, a big sausage appeared on the table. When her husband came in, she told him about the wishes and how she had just gotten them a sausage for dinner. The husband became angry. "We could have anything in the world, and you wish for a sausage? I wish that sausage were sticking to your nose, you foolish woman." And guess what? The sausage immediately appeared on the woman's nose. Try as they might, they couldn't pull it off. What could they do? They had one wish left. Would it be for riches or to remove the sausage? The husband made up his mind. "I wish my wife was rid of that sausage," he said. And right away the sausage was gone. The husband and wife celebrated as if they had just gotten a fortune. And then the other story, right below the sausage, is The Three Wishes. So I'm going to read that one to you. And as I'm reading it, you'll probably be noticing ways that these two stories are the same, and maybe some ways they're different. Once there lived a poor woodsman in the great forest. One day he went out to cut wood and chose a big old oak tree. He was about to start cutting it into planks when he heard a sad cry. A spirit who lived in the tree was begging him not to cut it down. The woodsman was amazed, but he told the spirit, "I will do as you ask." The spirit was very grateful and said to the woodsman, "To show my thanks, I will give you any 3 wishes that you desire." The spirit disappeared, and the woodsman started for home. He wasn't sure if the whole thing had been a dream. When the woodsman arrived home, he was hungry and tired. No supper was ready, so he said without thinking, "Oh, I wish I had some black pudding in front of me now." No sooner had he spoken than a huge bowl of black pudding was before him. He and his wife were both amazed, and then he remembered what happened in the forest. His wife was very mad when she heard the story. "You are a fool," she said. "I wish the pudding was stuck to your nose." And of course, right then it was. They pulled and pulled, but could not get it off. "What should I do now?" the woodsman said. "It really doesn't look that bad," answered his wife. So the woodsman made up his own mind and wished the pudding off his nose. His wife wasn't too happy, and she never got rich, but at least she had a good supper. So we're going to answer, I'll answer with you numbers 1, 2, and 3. And then you're going to do 4, 5, and 6 on the try it on your own. So if we start with number 1, the question is, both the sausage and 3 wishes are examples of, are they poetry, folk tales, nonfiction, or myths? they don't seem like poems to me. A folktale is a story that's been told over and over again over time. So that's definitely a possibility. Let's read on. Nonfiction, that would be teaching you about something, like an animal or a fact, and I don't see that. And a myth would involve gods. So I think that this correct answer would be B. Number 1 is B. Folktale. These are both folktales. Number 2, the finely dressed lady and the tree spirit are alike in that A, they grant the wishes to the character who helps them. That certainly seems true. B, they are forced to grant the wishes. I don't think they were forced to. C, they offer advice on how to use the wishes. Nope, they don't tell them how to. They just give them the wishes. Or D, they are fairies. I don't think it mentioned they were fairies. So our answer for number 2 would be A. They grant the wishes to the characters who help them. And then number 3, we're going to use a diagram like this one to compare the two stories. And they want to know the question, which of the following would fit under the circle labeled the sausage? And we've got some letters here. So letter A says, and I'm looking right down here. Letter A says, which of the following would fit under the circle labeled the sausage? So we'll have this one as the sausage. And this one as 3 wishes. Sorry, I've got a digging dog. All right, so which one would be under the sausage? Let's see. A spirit grants a woodsman 3 wishes. Was that in the sausage or was that in 3 wishes? B, the wife is upset by her husband's wish. C, the husband wishes for black pudding. Or D, a lady grants an old woman 3 wishes. So I believe for the first one, for letter A, we are going to put a lady grants an old woman 3 wishes. Because that is what happens in that one. Do you agree, Scooter? Yeah, he agrees. He was saying it's letter A. Okay, and that's all they have you doing for that one. So, you may need to do more in numbers 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to have this page on Google Classroom under classwork. You need to answer number 4, number 5, and number 6. Remember when you do problems like this that you want to read all the choices. And for number 5, you're going to need to add a text box. All right, I will have that on Google Classroom, and I'll have a copy of the sausage and 3 wishes just in case you don't have your packet. You also, if you don't want to do the worksheet on Google by using the text boxes, you could, if you still have the paper, do it on paper and take a picture of it. And you can upload it that way as well. Okay, thanks, boys and girls.